Hi everyone, welcome to the class of text analysis. So today we will be talking about a new concept, which is highly used in marketing and other fields, right? So this is basically two techniques we will be talking about, right? So one is called the part of speech tagging, and the other is called the named entity recognition (NER), right? So in this lecture, we will be I'll be introducing you to POS, that is part of speech tagging, and then what is the application of it. Then similarly, I will introduce you to named entity recognition and what is the application, and finally, we will also do a hands on exercise on these, right. So, let us begin and try to understand what are these two techniques used for. Okay. So, first we will start with part of speech tagging. So, I think if you have read your grammar well, so you must be remembering in your school days when you were taught what is part of speech, right. So, parts of speech, for example, we talked about noun, verb, adjective, all these things, adverb, right, which help you to form good sentences, neat sentences. So, they are called the part of speech, right. So, part of speech tagging is a process in natural language processing in NLP where each word in a sentence is labeled with its correct grammatical category, right. So, which are called the parts of speech. So, like noun, verb, adjective, as I said. So, this when you do this, the machine will help to understand the correctness of a sentence, right. So, it can understand the contextually also and the correctness of the sentence, okay, the words in the placed in the sentence, okay. So, let us say there is an example, the happy customer wrote a glowing review, right, or the happy customer wrote a nice review, beautiful review, whatever. So, now if we do a part of speech tagging, right. So, we break down the different words, the happy customer wrote a glowing review, right. So, the is called a determiner, happy is an adjective, customer is a noun, right, wrote is verb, right, in a past tense, a is again a determiner, glowing is an adjective, and review is a noun. So, each word is assigned a tag, right. So, that tells us what role it plays in this sentence. So, why it is important? Now, POS tagging, see, as we have discussed number of times, that machines will not understand our language. So, this tagging, POS tagging helps the computers to understand the human language. So, the way we talk, the computer should also understand, right. So, it is like teaching a machine how to read and comprehend a sentence, just like you and me do it, right. So, it is a foundational step in many language tasks. For example, it is used for sentiment analysis, named entity recognition, which I will explain, keyword extraction, machine translation. So, Google Translator for example, right, and text summarization. You want to summarize a text. So, that also does, it helps you to do that, right. Some of the applications of POS tagging, part of speech tagging is, to understand sentence structures, whether the structure of a sentence is correct or not, whether it is grammatically error free or not. It is essential for NLP tasks like sentiment analysis, chatbot and virtual assistants, text to speech systems, right. All these things are some of the uses of POS tagging. Then another application or utility you can say is the word disambiguation. Now, for example, you look at this line, book a ticket. Now, here book is a verb, right. You are doing an activity, booking a ticket. But same thing when we are saying read a book, here book is a noun, okay. So, this ambiguity is taken care of by this POS tagging, right. So, as a result of it, what happens, it improves the accuracy and of the language models and supports also linguistic research. So, people who are interested to do research in the languages and all, for them POS tagging is a very helpful technique, because it is all about correct grammar, right. How is it used in marketing? But now marketing also, you see, is all about understanding the customer or the audience, right. So, we have to craft a good message, deliver it at the right time, okay. So, what does part of speech tagging does here? It helps you to do several activities. One of them like is understanding the customer sentiment, right. So, customers will use descriptive words, right, in reviews, social posts, other documents, right. POS tagging helps identify these opinions or these words, okay, descriptive words. So, for example, you see this one, this face cream is amazing and soothing. What is saying? This face cream is amazing and soothing. So, amazing is a positive sentiment, soothing gives you functional benefit, talks about functional benefit. So, marketers can extract these adjectives and track sentiment trends to understand what features customers value. Okay. Let us see some other applications. Extracting keywords. So, part of speech tagging helps identify the important nouns and noun phrases. So, that can be used for search engine optimization, Google ads targeting, social media hashtags. So, in this case, for example, you see herbal skincare, hydrating moisturizer, acne treatment. These are all noun phrases extracted using POS tagging, right. So, it can help you to extract those keywords that people are talking about. Writing better ad copy, for example, by analyzing these words and adjectives customers use, marketers can mirror the language in and mirror this language in ads or product pages, right. That means, what does it mean? Marketers can show this reflection, right, of what people are feeling, thinking and talking through their ads, that the promotional campaigns that they make. Okay. So, mirroring means reflecting, right. So, if users say, let us say, the shampoo restores my hair, this shampoo restores my hair, then a ad can be built accordingly and say, for example, here it says restore your hair's natural shine in just one wash, because restoration was the big thing, right. So, the advertisement or the promotional campaign can be built around restoring your hair's natural shine. So, what does POS tagging do here? It helps to identify the language that resonates among the customers. Okay. Another application is improving chatbots and voice assistants. Now, in customer service, bots need to understand user queries. So, how will that happen? Now, POS tagging helps in intent recognition. Intent, what is your intent? What do you want, right? So, that is what a chatbot does, right? So, it asks you, it helps you to solve your problems. So, for example, you are writing in a chatbot, or you are you are communicating in a chatbot. Can I return this item? So, you are saying as a customer, can I return this item? Now, the chatbot will recognize the word return and it will signal an action request. Okay. So, bots can recognize verbs like return, cancel, buy and respond accordingly. So, those are built according. So, the intelligence, machine learning has been used and AI has been used to understand, and the sentences that are created accordingly according to those words. Okay. So, what would the bot say if somebody says, can I return this item? Immediately by looking at the word return, they will give you a suggestive reply. Okay. Social listening and trend analysis. So, POS tagging helps marketers analyze brand mentions across platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, wherever it is, right. So, detect changing sentiment. For example, from affordable to cheap, something is affordable and something is cheap, right. So, this changing sentiments, if there is any changing sentiment, so that will be detected, right, by POS tagging. Spotting new trends. So, if people start saying vegan, cruelty free, sustainable, green, okay. So, these insights can guide product development, brand messaging, campaign building around it and strategies building around the product. So, because the company will understand that now people are giving more weightage to these words, that means they are feeling more about these things. Okay. The last, so content curation and summarization. So, when curating user generated content or summarizing customer feedback, POS tagging helps to extract meaningful snippets, right. So, from example you see, from hundreds of reviews you can extract lightweight texture, gentle on skin, smells great for a cosmetic company, right. So, these can become taglines, testimonial highlights or even product features. Okay. So, some of them will look similar to you, it does not matter, because at the end of the day the whole objective of these things in marketing is to improve the customer's experience. Okay. So, what do they talk, but if you can understand, then accordingly you can build a promotional campaign around that, or you can build a product feature around it, right. How does this work? Now, there are three methods of POS tagging. One is the rule based tagging, second is statistical tagging, and the third is machine learning or deep learning based tagging. Okay. Rule based tagging is the most traditional. So, it says it uses handcrafted linguistic rules. Now, what are handcrafted? Now, example, if a word ends in ly, it is likely an adverb. So, the machine has understood through its intelligence that if it is ending, a word is ending with ly, it is likely maybe an adverb, right. If a word ends in ing and is preceded by is, it is probably a verb. So, this kind of intelligence the machine has already learnt, right. Then you have statistical tagging. So, which uses, unlike the rule based tagging, it uses probabilities. So, learned from a tagged corpus, that means, so from already a large pool of data, text and all, it has understood the what is the probability of a particular word coming into the context. Okay. So, what it does basically, it uses a method called hidden Markov models, HMM, right. So, it will give you a probability that which word should come in this, after this, or in between this one. So, that is what it does, right. Third technique is machine learning or deep learning. So, it uses neural networks, right. So, it is basically like transformers to learn context. So, what is the context is somebody is saying, because we have learned that many a times, most of the times in fact, the problem is in the context. So, in which context is somebody saying. So, somebody might be criticizing you, or somebody might be speaking something which looks, the word might be meaning something, meaning one thing, but then in a different context the word's meaning might change. So, all these things machine learning or deep learning methods will understand, and word based models, right, SpaceC, NLTK, like natural language toolkits or BERT based models are used for this kind of tagging purpose. Okay. Now, after this we will talk about another method which is called named entity recognition. Now, this is also a very popular and useful method, and it is used, it is a very much nowadays, because it helps you to identify names, organizational names, price of products, location, all these things very easily. What it is saying? NER is a task in natural language processing where a machine identifies and classifies key pieces of information. Okay. What are these key pieces of information? These key pieces of information are called entities. So, entity could be anything. For example, it could be a name, it could be an organization, it could be a location, it could be a price, anything, right. So, it classifies this key piece of information in text into predefined categories, such as you see here, person names, example Elon Musk, Ratan Tata, Narendra Modi. Okay. Organization, example Google, Nike. Okay. Location, example Paris, India. Date, April 14, 2025 or April 15, 2025. Monetary value, 10 million, 10 rupees, or whatever it is, right. Percentages, products, events, and many more things, right. So, what basically it says, now NER, as we have understood, it is called named entity recognition. It scans a sentence, it runs through a sentence and picks out the who, where, when and what, right. Now, for look at this. So, who means a person, where did it happen, when did it happen, what was the time, right, and what happened, right. So, let us say this one, Apple launched the new iPhone 15 in California on September 12, 2023, right. The statement is Apple launched the new iPhone 15 in California on September 12, 2023. Now, the NER output, right, will be Apple organization, iPhone 15 the product, California the location, September 12, 2023 the date. Had it given more, was launched at a price tag of this much, then that would have been price as a new entity. Okay. Why is this used in marketing? Now, marketing revolves again understanding people, places, products, timing, exactly. That is what NER does, right. It pulls those names, products, timings from the raw data, right. So, look at this, some of the examples. So, the benefit that it gives, right. Example, if you see, there are many benefits, tracking brand mentions, right. So, what are the brands people talk about largely, which brand they are discussing more nowadays when it comes to, let us say, shoes or apparels, or let us say toys. which is the brand they are talking most. Understand market trends. So, what are the trends in the market? Monitor competitors and customer segmentation. So, let us say tracking the brands. So, recognize it when and where a brand like Nike is mentioned in the social media, right. That is what NER does, right. So, Nike, the name is to be recognized, or Puma or Adidas, whatever it is. Understand the trends. So, see what products or events people are talking about. So, people maybe are talking about Trump's retaliation, tariff retaliation, or people might be talking about how China is retaliating back, or people might be talking about how Apple has taken a lot of tons of Apple phones from India to US, delivered from India to US. Similarly, it identifies the mentions of competitors and their new launches. So, for example, if there is a trade, there is a new package coming from Airtel, right, what Jio is going to do, what are the competitors talking about their products, their how their customers are reacting, all these things. So, finally, it extracts locations, organizations and products users care about to personalize those messages. So, all these are beneficial for marketers, because they can make very customized, you can say customized products, customized services, customized approaches to the customer, right. So, they can directly make a one to one interaction, right, with the customer to engage them more and better, right. So, how NER is used in marketing? Let us break it into a workflow. So, if you see, first it collects the text data, so from reviews, blogs, tweets, news, etc. Then it applies NER tools like Spacey, Flare, BERT or NLTK, right. After this, extracts the entities like product names, places, companies, dates, whatever they are, and then it would analyze the patterns. So, how often is your brand mentioned? In what context are competitors being discussed? Where are the most users from? Which place they come from? All these patterns will be analyzed. Okay. Let us say Arvind from New Delhi bought a Thar model during Holi is a statement. Now, who is the person here? Now, Arvind. What is the location? Now, New Delhi. What is the organization or product? Thar model, right. Thar is a model, right, of car. Event Holi. So, now the marketer can now what it can do, geo target New Delhi, promote Thar related content, plan around festive events like Holi. So, that becomes much easy for the marketers to understand more about their customers. Okay. So, real world applications, as we have seen, so like brand monitoring, competitive analysis, customer insights, to draw customer insights, make targeted ads, right, which has become a very popular business nowadays, and make event based campaigns. So, for example, brand monitoring, track where and how your brand is mentioned across the social media or news. So, for in one location maybe people like your product, in another geographical location people do not like your product, maybe that is because of the climatic change, because of the weather change, or because of just the cultural effect, or anything could be, right. So, why and how people are using your brand, what they are talking about. Then see what is being said about your competitors. So, in the blogs and forums, so people might be liking your competitors equally for their better products or better price, then those things are important for us. Extract the names of the products, companies, locations to learn about the user interests, right. And then it extracts the location or company information to run more relevant and targeted ads. So, once they understand the location and the company name or the information about the company, it helps to make more relevant and targeted ads. And then event based campaigns, for example, find upcoming events like Diwali, right, to run promotional campaigns and around them, right. So, these are some of the things, applications in marketing. Now, we have understood both part of speech tagging and named entity recognition and how they are applicable in marketing. Now, what we will do is, maybe we will go for a hands on practice, right. So, if not today, in the next lecture, what we will do is, we will continue with a hands on exercise. So, we will do both the activities and we will learn more about how to use them, right. So, till then, take care. Thank you very much.